Hello everybody. Can you put me back onto the other screen please, Louise, on this one? Because I can see what you see now. There we go.
Don't turn into a diva now. Just because you've had nobody to boss around all day.
All right, so again, usual thing, before we go any further, can you all hear me? And also, can you hear Louise?
Hello, can you hear me?
And if everybody is all okay, I should have, yeah, because I put these back. I put the screen back so I can see what's on that one. But I preferred it when I could see what was on that one over there, to see live chat as opposed to the old chat.
I know, but we had a few early birds, so by the time I logged in on this computer, I couldn't see the comments that came on before.
Right. All right, so can everybody hear me? I can't see anything that's coming up on the screen now, you see. So can people hear us, Louise?
Louise is a bit quiet. I thought it'd be a first.
Really? Louise is quiet? Really?
I don't usually shut my yapper, do I?
No, you don't. No. Turn up your volume and I'll just talk a bit quieter. How's that? Not you. The guys watching. You can turn your mic up actually if you want to. No, not on there. You have to go onto the ATM switch on the bottom. No, I'll show you. No, let's do it because you may need this. Go onto audio. Cool. You are Lou. You see, you got it on there, and you should be able to increase where it says -324. Where it says -324. Take it up a bit. Whoa, not that loud. No. Naught. Bring it back to naught.
What's that now?
Oh, you've done it now. You've broken it now. Put it back up. Keep going. Whoa. Try there.
Whoa. Is it loud?
That's a bit loud. There, try there.
Okay, how's that?
That's -5 now.
Oh. How's
There,
that?
try that. Leave it there. Okay, leave it there and see what people think. Louise, can you talk?
Yes, I can.
Keep on talking and people will then be able to say how...
Am I too loud? Has the time changed? Yes, Yvonne, we are an hour...
What?
The time.
We're on British summertime now.
Yes.
No, we're not. We're on Greenwich Mean Time now.
So that's why...
Everybody.
Is that why it's messed up the time?
Maybe this is the reason why people aren't on.
Is that why it's messed up the time, guys?
You on? Speak again, talk again.
Okay. Can you hear me now? My mic is quiet. I get to turn myself up again.
Is this still quiet? Try that.
It's on full blast now, that is.
Talk.
Hello.
Keep talking.
I've got nothing to say.
You have. Just sing a song.
No. I'm subjectively used to that. There's an echo for me. Greenwich. Yeah. We haven't changed anything. This is why. Okay, so we need to think about this. Don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. We can hear Louise from Andrew's mic. Is this... Oh, do you know why?
You on? Talk.
Hang on, it's on for blast. I'm going to deafen it. Oh, I'm sorry. Schoolboy error.
Didn't have it on, did you? Try that.
First, we're an hour late.
Keep talking then, and then we'll see if you're okay.
Right, can you hear me now, guys? Sorry, we're all a bit tizzy. I'm going to blame lockdown.
Are we all okay?
Okay,
Are we all right?
Oh, I fixed it myself as well.
Well done, Louise, by turning your microphone on.
All right.
Well done.
Sassy.
How's everybody been? All right, so there we go. That's about it. What news have we got to be on local, not local, we're on national. We're on national lockdown for 2 weeks. The shop is closed again, which means that we are purely relying upon website orders. The website has gone crazy over the weekend, isn't it? I think we had about 20 orders in over the weekend, I think. 20 orders in, which is really, really good. So thank you, everybody. Not necessarily the people who have ordered, who have watched, watching, who have ordered, you know what I mean? But thank you very much for everybody who has ordered. And that's about it, really. So Jason and Sharon have been furloughed. Louise has not been furloughed. Louise cannot be furloughed. She cannot be paid by the government because the shop is shut, because Louise has changed jobs in between the last lot of furlough. So Louise was very happy, you see, last week. She was saying, oh, I don't have to pick up a pen. If I pick up a pen, it's going to be furlough fraud and you could be fined, you could be put in prison for furlough fraud. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to sit back, she said, and I'm just going to sit back and do nothing. I can't do the live. I can't do Facebook lives. I can't do anything. I won't pick up a pen. And then she realizes then that she doesn't get paid. So she has to work. So she has picked up a pen. I must admit, no, she does work very, very hard. We worked yesterday, we worked Sunday, we worked Saturday as well, and we worked all day today, and we're going to be working all day for the next 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. But we will be having a bit of time off as well.
Well, thank you, Andrew.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm not that much of a slave driver, am I really? Yes, I am. Am I?
Yeah.
You're free to do whatever you want, obviously. All right, what else have we got to say? We've got to say, don't forget to tune in on the 7th of November for our 12-hour live. A bit more of information for you coming up now. We have got, as I said in the description to this film here, we have got discount codes. We have got discount codes from Durston. So don't buy any Durston just yet, because the discount code that you're going to be getting is the best you are ever going to get from anyone. I'm going to give you the best discount code for Durston. We've got discount codes for Otto Fry. We've got discount codes for Guess Wine. We have got discount codes for HS Walsh for you guys here in the UK. We have got tools and equipment to give away from Guess Wine, from Otto Fry. The guys at GRS are giving away another Benchmate. We have got new concepts on board this year as well, this time, and they're going to be giving away a big bundle of saws and titanium strips and trivets and all sorts of things. HS Walsh are giving us vouchers. Craft are giving us vouchers again this year, although they're not going to be giving anything to ship, to post, because there's problems with the post because of the COVID situation and so forth. But there's going to be a £100 voucher as well to give away with Craft, as well as other vouchers. At the bench t-shirts, at the bench aprons. Have I forgotten anybody or anything? That's about it, I think. So yeah, we got lots and lots and lots to give. Oh, and also, you may see people giving away a rolling mill, one little rolling mill in social medias and so forth. But no, we have arranged with Matthew Durston to give away 2 rolling mills, to give away 2 C130 rolling mills. 2 of them, we're going to be giving them away. We are going to be simply having a competition, and all we would need you to do, in addition to the Durston rolling mills, to be in with a chance of winning. You okay, Louise? To be within with a chance of winning any of the tools and any of the equipment and any of the aprons and any of the t-shirts and any of the giveaways. All we would need you is simply just put your email down in a competition that we're going to be putting out in the chat on the day. It's as simple as that. We don't ask you to follow, we don't ask you to like, we don't ask you to share, because those competitions just do not work, because people have their profiles private, and it's a shame, because those people who have private profiles can't get picked, can they, Louise? Can't get picked as winners.
I don't think it can be a fair competition, because if say for example my profile is such that it's private and you can't see if I've shared something, that means I'm either excluded, or perhaps I haven't shared and you don't know, and
it doesn't work. Doesn't work. So shares, likes, follows don't work in competitions, because if you have your profile private, no one can see if you've liked or you shared or anything like that, so you won't get picked. It's as simple as that. So we will never ask you to like, follow, share, and all that. We may ask you to like, yes, but that won't be any part of the competition. We do not base competitions upon likes, follows, shares, because that's a false way of adding followers, because they're only following you for your actual competition, not because they actually like you.
We want a genuine like.
We want genuine likes, because people like you because they like you because of your content. They don't necessarily like you because of what you're giving away. So that is something that we will never do, is ask for shares and likes and so forth. All we ask is an email, and you can opt out of the newsletters that we send out, and that has no bearing upon your entry to the competitions. How is that?
Yes.
That's all about it. So yeah, so it's looking really good for giveaways for the 7th of November. Very excited. Yes, Louise, you're...
Yvonne is asking, will I still be able to will I still be able to participate in any of the drawings while you're live? So they have to work. Will it still be available from the replays?
No, it's got to be on the day. We're on for 12 hours. We're on from 9 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night, Greenwich Mean Time here in the UK. So the competition is only live for those 12 hours. If you watch it on a replay, the competitions are finished. It's only on that day, because during the day we will be doing demonstrations and techniques, and the tools that we're going to be using during that particular demo we are going to then be giving away. And what you're doing what you're doing is watching me and going, do you know what, Andrew, I would love that bit of equipment. And all you got to do then is go and follow the link, put your name down, and at the end of the hour then we will choose. Yes, Louise?
Sandra would like to know, any idea if the Guess Wine codes will also work at Guess Wine Canada?
Yes, across the whole Guess Wine Corporation. They will be available. Yes, Louise.
Steve is asking, did I've lost your...
Sep Tools?
So sorry. Did they contact you?
No. Sep Tools, Robert hasn't contacted me yet. I'm waiting to hear from him. We got 2 weeks to go. He can email me by all means, and we'll include him in with the giveaways. If he wants to produce some discount codes, he's more than welcome. Or we've got something else. Are you dead there, Louise?
My battery's...
Your battery's gone? Oh, Louise's battery's gone. Hang on a second. Oh, Louise, your battery's gone. That one's still going up there.
I'll just shout, it's okay! Can you guys hear me now?
Come here. Take them off. Put them on. How's that?
Can I stop shouting now? Yes, I can.
You stop shouting. That's another lot to start doing then. Okay.
I'm back.
You're back.
Sorry, a few technical issues.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
So if Robert wants to contact me, he's more than welcome, and we'll be having some giveaways and perhaps from Sep Tools who are in Chicago. Okay.
There was something else. Did somebody else ask a question about... No, I think I got all the questions about the 12 hour. I think Romy said, have I got my job title yet? No. You cannot be furloughed.
Nice.
Okay.
Just knock that cupboard door behind closed, please.
Oh,
okay.
Light.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. I think that's about it.
Yeah.
So, anything else that we need to quickly talk about about the giveaways and so forth?
What time on the 7th of November, Central Time here in the US, bearing in mind now that we're an hour out from the rest of the world.
So it's Central, where's Central? Is that on the East Coast or on the West Coast, or is it in the middle because it's Central? Pacific is going to be on the West Coast, is it? So I say they're about 5 hours, I think. It's about 5 hours difference. So we start at 9 a.m, so that must be around about 4 a.m. in the US on the East Coast.
Is that accounting for the hour that we've gone back?
I think so, because by then they should have gone back as well.
Okay, they have that as well, do they?
I think they do. I think you do. Do you have that in America? You have the hour as well? They have the hour. I'm sure they have the hour. Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yes. Oh, minus 6 hours. November. Yes, so just bear in mind, guys, when, yes, they do, yeah. With the times, yeah.
So it's either going to be 5 or 6 hours difference on east side, yeah. All right.
Okay, right, shall we have a proper question?
One moment, please, I have to introduce
Not
it.
that they were proper questions. Okay.
Relating to the question and answer. Oh, Gwyneth Hayes has just bought something.
Who?
Gwyneth. Again.
Data protection?
Who knows who Gwyneth is? 795. That's very nice, thank you. It is the 26th of October. Jane Price, Bob Jones. There's hundreds of people around there. It's the 26th of October. Welcome to the question and answer. Start again. It is the second set of lockdown here in the UK. It is the 26th of October and it's time for our question and answer. Louise,
yes.
May we have our first question, please?
Yes, you may. Mike is asking, I have acquired several pieces of sterling flatware. How do I separate sterling from the stainless on the knives? I like the pattern and would like to save them for something. Thank you.
I think we've had this before. Exactly the same question.
Have we?
I think we did. I was saying that the blades are going to be the steel and the handles are going to be the silver. And inside the handle there is pitch, like a resin, like a black resin, that the handles then have a tang on, and the tang goes into the handle itself. So what you have to do is just gently heat up the handles with a flame, a nice soft flame, so the resin inside starts to melt. I would do that so the handle is pointing upwards and the blade's coming out up here. Warm it up, then you can pull the blade out, then you have a container by the side of you, then you should be able to, obviously not holding it with your hands, are you? Then you turn the handle upside down and all the resin drips out. So you've got your handle here, and you've got like this here. So this is your handle with nice decoration on it. Here is the knife blade. Here is the knife blade. Here's the tang. The tang goes in here. So what you've got to do is heat this up with your torch. My flames are getting worse and worse. So the resin inside, and then you pull that out, and then you can turn it upside down, all the resin pours out, and then you should be able to use the silver handles. But that pitch is really, really hot, and if you get that pitch on your skin, it will burn you. It will absolutely burn you. So make sure you wear gloves, you put something on your bench, and you have a container by the side so you can turn the handle over and pour the pitch out. There we go. Next question, please, Louise.
Lorraine is asking, did I miss it, or has the winner of the stamp book been chosen?
Yes, it has been chosen. It was chosen about 2 weeks ago.
Sorry, I've been
James.
stuck at the desk, haven't I?
A gentleman by the name of James won. James
and
was.
Has James been contacted?
He has been contacted.
Fantastic.
He has been contacted. He lives in Canada.
Don't give out any more personal data.
James from Canada. Of course. How many Jameses are in Canada? Oh yeah. James has been given, so Mathieu Cheminay has contacted James, signed the book and sent it to James. Okay?
Yes.
Good. Next
Susan,
question, please.
No, I'm ready. Susan is asking, have you ever electro-polished and or electro-clean? It's a two-part question. What are the electrolytes and voltages?
Okay. I did some stripping a few years ago.
Woo!
Some electro stripping quite a few years ago. You have to buy some electro stripping salts to be able to do it. And I simply used, what did I use at the time? I must have used a really basic battery charger, like a car battery charger, and I simply used that. I had no idea of the voltages or the amperages or anything like that, unfortunately, but you have to buy electro stripping salts. And obviously when you come to plate, it goes from the positive to the negative, I think. Something like that, but with electro stripping, it's the other way around. So it strips the piece and then deposits the metal that it strips from onto the other. I can't remember if it's cathodes or anodes. I should remember these things. So yes, we do. I've had electro stripping, and it is very, very good because it strips the whole metal. So if you've got areas where there's some tarnish you can't gain access to, or you've got some fire scale, it'll take it away completely. So very, very good electro stripping salts. They're fairly cheap. Just practice, see what you think. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay. Christina is asking, what is the formula to make sterling silver? I got as a bar of silver and would like to make it sterling.
Okay, so we have got 925 silver. So you obviously have you have a bar 925, which is this much. So this much is fine silver. This much is another part. So then out of the whole bar, that would be 925. The other 75 parts are going to be other metals. And this is really as simple as that. I don't know exactly what other metals you're going to need. I don't have that information, but I would have thought you would have 925 parts pure silver, then you'd have 75 parts of copper, because copper is obviously alloyed with silver. That's why you get fire scale and the tarnish and so forth. So it's simple as that. So if you have 1,000 grams of fine silver, okay, no you wouldn't, you'd have 925 grams, okay, and then you'd have 75 grams of copper in that proportion. I don't know what proportion that is, you're gonna have to look that up, but yeah, so if you have 1,000 gram bar at the end of it, 925 grams is fine silver, 75 grams is going to be copper. Simple as that. Next question, please.
Sorry, just chitty chat. Okay. This was a question, an open question. I see, Sandra, sorry, I see a lot of bench grinders on auction sites, regular, not jewellers. Can you put polishing wheels on those instead to make a polishing machine?
Yes, you can, because the bench grinders have tapered spindles. If I can put this too, by there. The bench grinders should have tapered spindles on the ends, and you can then take those tapered spindles off, and you can then you can buy piggy tails. Sounds really cute, that, doesn't it? So what it is simple, a tapered bar with a shaft here, and this has a thread on it, and that has a little grub screw, and your little bar here, it may be threaded, I don't know, but this is going to be your polishing motor, your grinder. The shaft may be threaded, it may have a little flat on it like that. I'm not quite sure what yours is going to have, but these little piggy tails will simply slide over the shaft. You have to get the hole that is within the piggy tail the same size as that. That'll go over, you tighten the grub screw, or you screw them into place, and then it's as simple as that. And then you can put your polishing mops on those piggy tails. You do get them left and right-handed, so don't get them mixed up, because if the motor revolves towards you, the mop is always being tightened. So yeah, you should be able to buy piggy tails. The shafts that comes out of the motors are pretty much standard. I'm sure you can get 2 different size pigtails that go on the ends. And that is the way that you can simply have bench grinders, but be able to put polishing mops on them. Nice and simple, that. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay. Michael is asking, sometimes when I make a bezel after I solder it, it shrinks after soldering it onto the back plate. I check it after the first solder and it's fine, but after the second one it shrinks. Any tips?
A lot of people find this. A lot of people say they make a bezel so it fits really nice and tight and nice and snug, and when they solder onto the back plate it does shrink. I really don't know why it would shrink. And I've often puzzled this. Perhaps there's somebody on there who would know why it shrinks
Susan
slightly.
Said perhaps too much solder creeps up the bezel during.
But then it wouldn't be enough, not because if you have the bezel and you make the bezel and you clean the bezel up and then you solder onto the back plate, there should be no more solder really even flowing up the actual bezel itself. And then even subsequent soldering operations, there should be no more solder flowing up at all. You shouldn't be using that much solder. I think what I would be inclined to do is when you make your bezels is not make them so much of a really snug fit, but just a nice sort of, I don't know why I'm doing this. This is the stone going in. So the stone just goes in without any force, without really any friction. So the bezel just fits nice and neatly. So no real movement, but just gently goes over it. Sometimes what happens, and I have actually thought of this, is that because we use a tapered mandrel, When you make your bezel and you put your bezel on the mandrel and you tap it, you effectively, and I'll exaggerate this, your bezel then, when you tap it on the mandrel, is going to be slightly tapered. And what you will find is that, and I'll exaggerate this for the sake of this drawing, he says, your bezel would be slightly tapered. Okay, so here's your bezel. So instead of the sides being absolutely parallel, they're not. They are slightly, and I'll exaggerate this for this drawing, they're slightly tapered because you've tapped it upon a tapered mandrel. And if you happen to solder that bezel with the taper going that way, you're going to find the stone isn't going to fit because this area here is smaller than this area down here. So sometimes that would be the reason you solder the bezel upside down in one respect. So always check your bezel, especially if it's a very deep bezel, you're going to get a big taper on it. So that could well be the reason why you think the stone fits. And of course, you then would perhaps have the bezel that is this way up. The stone fits in quite nicely, but when you turn it over, it doesn't because it's, yeah, you get the general gist of the idea. So that could well be the reason. And if it's not, I've no idea. But then if that is the case, I would just make your bezel a nice gentle fit over, not a tight fit, not really a friction fit, but a nice just touching. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay, Iona has a question on bezel setting tools. I have a set and don't really know what I can use the smaller ones for. Those would be 0.75 to 1.75 mil. Can they be used as beading tools?
I'd say no, because the cross section through a bezel setting tool is more that. Because obviously then when you come to bezel set, when this comes down on top, it just forces over the edge, and this is more conical, whereas a beading tool is more that. So this would produce a bead, this would not produce a bead, this would produce really more of a cone like that. So I'd say no, I don't think you could. But what you could do is get a carbide ball burr of say 1.75 or 1 mil, I can't remember what that was on there then, and get your your carbide ball burr. Yep, okay, so this is your ball burr, like that. And then what you could do is actually make that into a beading tool if you wanted to by using the carbide burr into that. A normal burr isn't going to work, it's got to be a carbide burr, and then you can transform your bezel setting tool into a beading tool. So there is your answer. But the beading tools are really good. I love beading tools, bezel setting tools. I think they're one of the types of the tools that we don't often see that often. Perhaps we should do a little bit of a demo on that on our 12-hour. Okay, next question then please, Louise.
Okay, Jade is asking, can you please explain what the differences are between the solder and which type is most suitable for which jobs?
So you should always have your first solder joint within a piece that you're making in a high melting point solder, because that is going to have the most biggest proportion of silver. So a hard solder has the most silver in it. That solder is going to be the one that matches closest to your sterling silver. Will we on about silver? Will we on from Jade?
Didn't specify.
Didn't say. Okay, so no problem. But the same applies also to gold. If you have a hard solder, there is obviously the bigger proportion of the parent metal in it and the least amount of alloy. That is why it's called hard solder. That is why it melts at quite a high temperature. So that would be your first solder, and just basically work down from there. obviously you don't want to have, don't want to run out of solder. So what you'll find is that when you use the solder and the solder melts for the first time, it sort of loses a little bit of its properties, its melting properties. So I'm not quite sure what the melting points of solder are. But if you have a joint and you soldered it with hard solder, and then you have another joint fairly nearby, you could use hard solder again, because the first solder joint will take a little bit more heat to melt it, because it sort of burned away some of the melting down properties. So that solder will melt at a slightly higher temperature than your fresh solder joint. So if you're very good with your torch, you could solder quite close to each other with the same solder, and your first solder joint won't come unsoldered, because this solder joint, your second solder joint, will be melting a fraction below this solder joint. Okay, so get the general gist of the idea. You can get some solder, so like an extra easy solder, which you can use for repairs, but it's still going to need quite a bit of heat. Extra easy solder is not a hallmarking solder here in the UK, so you can't really use it if you're making anything. So what solder do you use for what jobs? There's no set plan. If you are doing very, very fine chain and you're soldering repairing a chain, for instance, what you want to do is use quite an easy solder that's going to melt at a slightly lower temperature, because you don't want any of the solder joints to melt. You want to make your life a little bit easier. So small little things like that, a jump ring, for instance, that isn't going to really take an awful lot of stress. Perhaps an easy solder would be great if you're repairing. Now, when you come up to make your pieces, obviously, as I said, the parent metal, the hardest solder, is going to have the most strength. So usually if you're soldering ring shanks, you would use a hard solder, because if you've got a wide band, you've got a wide area, and you don't really want your solder to show. So a hard solder with the most parent metal in it would be the best thing to use. And then obviously then as you construct your pieces, and perhaps you do a solder joint on this piece here, and then this piece here, you do another solder joint on this one, you can use both hard on each, and then when you solder this hard onto this particular job here, you can use medium solder. Get the general gist of the idea. So the medium then melts at a slightly lower temperature and doesn't then melt the other. Yeah, that's about it. And I think yeah, when it comes to handmade, I think handmade jewellery, it is going to be far superior. So yeah, you do need to learn these soldering techniques as opposed to anything else. So you just need to practice. There we go. I think that's about it. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay, Brian from Cincinnati is asking, what brand borax cone do you use? The one I bought isn't so great.
Oh, right. I can run downstairs and...
Wasn't there one here?
Is it in a wrapper? It may be in there, actually. Hang on, let's just... Louise will be able to find... Is there one in the wrapper?
Oh.
No.
I knew there was one near.
Louise, pop onto Gemcraft.co.uk. That's where... Gemcraft.co.uk. It's a company in the UK called Hilton Brothers Manchester Minerals.
Is that it?
That's the one. Yep, that's the one. Put in borax cone. I could run downstairs and pick the borax cone up from downstairs, because I got a couple of brand new ones. Okay, we get just put in borax perhaps. Oh, hand-carved squirrel.
Rose quartz, that's cute.
Put in borax.
I'll just put in borax, shall I?
Yeah. What comes up?
Absolutely nothing. I've spelled it right, haven't I?
Yeah.
B-O-R-A-X.
Yeah, put solder in perhaps. What comes up? Steel wig.
No.
Okay, I'm going to have to pop downstairs then. Anything else on that page? That was the second page. No. All right. Sorry. I just caught you yawning then.
Sorry.
I will run downstairs. I'll run downstairs in a minute. If anybody has a question for Louise to answer regarding gemstones, ask away. She will answer your question. And in that time, I will run downstairs and pick a borax cone up with the maker's name on it. Maybe have a next question, please, Louise. I'll find out that question.
what am I?
No, you're just. If anybody wants to ask a question that has gemstones in it, I'll let you answer that one.
You can still talk to us when you're on the way downstairs, so I'll ask you a question while you're going for your borax.
Go on then.
2 minutes. Chat. Right, Julian is asking, can you use texture sheets without a rolling mill?
Yes, you can. I'm gonna answer this on my way downstairs. So yes, you can, Julian. You can use texture plates without a rolling mill. You can use it with a hydraulic press. Door's open. You can use it with a hydraulic press. If you don't have a hydraulic press, what you can do is hammer the texture into. Can you still hear me? I'm not quite sure if you can still hear me. I gotta go on a chair for this. Let's have a look. Oh, I do have one. There we go. You can use a hammer, like a 4-pound lump hammer, brass hammer, but you do have to make sure that you protect the texture plate. Some people will use little cakes of lead on top of the texture plate when you hammer it into the metal, or vice versa. So that is what you can do. You don't necessarily need to use a rolling mill. You can use a texture plate. Talking of texture plates, I got lots of texture plates that I really do want to have a play with. So that's your answer. Here is a borax cone that I have from downstairs. Overhead camera. And we are going to unwrap my borax cone. And what is it? Jeweller's borax, made in England. All right, if you want to take a screenshot of that, that is what my bit of borax looks like. Jeweller's borax, made in England. That's it. That's all it is.
That's all it says.
That's all it says. And there it is there.
You heard it here first.
Here is my borax cone. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, to be honest. That's about it. Help me, Louise. Do I need to say anything more about it? I don't know.
That's all you can say, really, isn't it? Let's be fair. Where did you get it from? Do you not remember?
Manchester Minerals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, from Hilton Brothers, yeah. I had a whole load of them. I still got some.
The answer is borax.
Well, everyone's a comedian. All right then, Louise, may we have a next question, please?
You've answered the texture sheets and rolling mill
Julian,
question, haven't
yep.
you? I'm sorry, guys, about the time difference, the time error. No, God, you've lost our place. Hang on.
Has we been given her official title? How are we doing? Sounds fine. Okay. Not quite sure what else to say while Louise is going. Can you solder ear posts with a puck or arc welder? Yes, you can. What you find is that, well, I'll answer that quick question. So what you want to do, if you've got a puck welder, you want to get your earring posts, but get the slightly longer earring posts. You want to get the earring posts that are slightly longer. I think they're roughly around about 9 millimeters. You want to get the earring post a little bit longer, because what you want to do is that when you use the puck, the Lampert puck or the Orion puck, what you want to do is melt the blob. You want to get the tip here, the electrode on here. You want to melt this into a blob like that. Okay, so you want to thicken the end. Then what you want to do is file that flat. So you've made a little bit of a flat end like that. So that's the reason why you need a slightly longer ear wire, because you want to puck it so it'll shrink it, then you file it flat. Now you've increased the surface area of the end of the ear wire. Then what you want to do then, here's your ear wire, it's just come down, it's like this. And say you've got your disc, what you want to do then is get the puck, and what I do is puck at this particular point here, and there's a setting that you would use on the puck, and of course the puck and the Orions are pretty much the same, and there are different sparks, length of sparks, time of the sparks, the power and so forth, different wavelengths of the sparks. you'd use a setting that you would be going into a crease. Okay, so this is a crease. This is your tip to the machine. You would use the setting that has this sort of image, because you're actually going into this crease around here. What I would do is just gently puck in a few places all the way around that. And when you do that, obviously when the spark comes out, it partly melts this. And that's the reason why I would never have a simple post pucked onto a flat sheet, because when the pulse comes out, it just gets rid of and moves a little bit of metal. So the post, where it joins on, becomes something like this. Okay, that's the reason why you want to spread the end, so when the spark comes, it melts it, but it doesn't melt it away. It does that. Then what I'd be inclined to do then is change it to perhaps this sort of look, this sort of diagram, where you're actually sort of like adding a claw, that sort of diagram on the puck. Then I would add a little bit of filler metal, and then as the puck and the spark comes out, it melts the filler metal and it'll leave a nice little fillet all the way around the ear wire. At the last resort, usually I would try and solder it. If you can't solder it, I would puck. It's a little bit more long-winded, but that would be the best way to do it. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay, Brian is asking, can you solder ear posts with a puck or pulse arc welder? Is that what we just had? I'm sorry. Did I read that one out?
No, you didn't. I read it out because you were straight into it. I'll answer that one whilst you find it.
Oh, it's all going to today, isn't
Pay
it?
attention, girl. Come on. What have you been doing?
I thought I'd lost some questions. Perhaps I didn't. Where did you see that? Look, don't interfere with the chat. You stick to your job and I'll do mine, thank you. Right, where did we get to? Has the time changed? Yes, yes, yes. Let's see.
This is weird why I answered that question because of this.
That's why you did it? Okay,
yeah, because you're still looking.
Right. Okay.
Shall I ask you, Frank, how do you shape a concave bracelet that has texture in without losing the texture? So usually, the texture has been put on with like a texture plate. Okay, what I would use is something like a Delrin hammer. So I would use something like a Delrin hammer, like this. It's hard, it'll push the metal, but it won't really mess around with the texture as if you've got, say, a a metal hammer. Metal upon metal, the metal will flatten, the metal will spread, you would damage the texture. A Delrin hammer, or even something like this one here, which is a bit of a rubber hammer, something like that, as long as it is there, it is purely pushing the metal it's forming the metal into the shape of the concave. It's not bashing it and it's not changing the shape of it as a metal hammer would. So a soft hammer, you could even use a rawhide mallet. If you've got a really old rawhide mallet and the end is slightly worn, you could even use that. So that is the reason, and it won't get rid of the texture, providing the texture is a really decent, good texture if it's been put on with a texture plate, something like that. Do we have our next question, please, Louise?
I have actually got a question for you now.
Yay!
Right.
Well done.
Hey, Julia is asking, can copper be used for bezels for small stones, maybe up to 5mm, or is that too soft?
No, you can use copper. Nothing wrong with using copper. Do we need to think about anything to do with stones? No, I think copper tubing would be ideal. It really could cheat away. Just simply cut little sections of copper tubing off and solder it onto a back plate, something like that. Yeah, I see no reason why not. Good idea. What you may find is that the copper may be a bit too thick, perhaps, depending on the wall thickness of your tubing. You may need to file that down slightly. You may need to, here's the edge of your tubing like this. What you may find is it's a bit too thick. What you may need to do is just to file away a little bit at either end, just to thin down the wall. That's really too deep, Andrew. That was a pathetic drawing, Andrew. There we go. Let's just do that. There we go. So what you may find is that if you had a cabochon in here, this metal here may be a bit too thick, but you may need to file the edge away, to take this away, to make it a little bit thinner, like that, to be able to force the tubing over onto the stone. So yeah, see no reason why not. Good idea. And it's a good idea to practice as well. Practice your bezel setting. And don't forget, you can change. You don't have to have the bezel completely solid. You can make little scallops going around it, and you can push these over onto the stone. There's so much you can do. So much you can do. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay. Does the GRS wooden bench pin fit the new concept's bench plan?
Yes. They've all been sort of made to be interchangeable. Have I got one down there? I have. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. So down here, I have got. Oh shoot. Okay. I have got the new concepts. I'm not quite sure. This is the thing that I have to bring it away from the bench, and also has these little extra bits and pieces all over it. So what you can do with this. I'm going to move my whole bench forward for this a minute, so we can see this. Okay, so there's the bench peg there. Here's the GRS, official GRS dovetail plate. Here's the new concepts. The new concepts will slide onto it just like that. Here's the bench pin. And oh God, just go onto this camera, Andrew. There we are, that's better. There we go. So there we go. There's your answer. GRS goes together just like that. That comes off, new concepts, onto there like that, onto there like that. There we go. And this has all these little extra little bits and pieces around that you can put the little screen. Let me show you this. This is really cool. I do like this. This is the one that is lit. So what you would do, you buy this, and then GRS have this, New Concepts has this little screen. The screen can fit into the hole onto the side. You can do that one there, and you can tighten that up like that. And now you've got the screen, and you can move the screen. That's not me, that's the actual clamp itself. Thank you, Louise. Yeah, so there we go. And then you've got the screen in front of it, and you can work. This has the lights. You can just see the lights here and here. I haven't got it plugged in, but then that would produce a nice lighting, and it protects your face as well. Yeah, brilliant. There we go. Okay, so there's your answer. Yes, you can use the new concepts. You can even use the little bench clamp. Look at the bench clamp up here. I don't have one, but that's in the other room. But yes, the bench clamp would fit on the side of your desk, and the new concepts will also fit. Okay, it's new concept, and also your GRS bench pin will fit on it. Yeah, no worries at all. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay, Janet had some good news today in the papers. Scotland near Loch Lomond has a gold mine with gold so pure can be sold direct to jewellers. Definitely not an April Fool joke. Are there any mines still open in Wales?
Nice one. There's mines in Ireland and there's mines in Wales.
We've got Snowdonia, haven't we?
We did have the Gwynfynydd mine. I've been lucky enough to have a tour around that. That was producing up until about 20 years ago, something like that, 20 years ago. And obviously Clogau have the Clogau mine. I know that Ben had, they bought the mine, but buying the mine doesn't give you the rights to mine. It just buys you the mine. So to be able to mine the mine, you have to apply to the Queen, because it's the Queen's land, the whole.
Like the swans.
Like the swans, that's another story.
Not allowed to strike a swan, are you? But that's another story.
Or eat a swan.
Yeah.
So you have to apply to the Queen, you have to ask the Queen's permission to mine the mine. Yes. And that's it. And I know that Clogau bought the mine, and Clogau had appealed to the Queen to allow them to remine the Clogau mine. Whether they've gone ahead, I don't know. But I know there is the Clogau mine and the Gwynfynydd mine in Wales.
There's one in West Wales, isn't there, that we found? Well, we didn't.
We just came across it. Yeah, we found a gold mine.
But I don't know if that's still.
Don't know.
We don't pass over. Oh, the gold mine.
Where we driving to? That. Newquay?
Newquay, yeah.
Can we go into Newquay, won't we? I think it'd be interesting to go there. We drove past it, didn't we? And we thought, oh, next time when we've got a bit more time, we'll actually go and have a look. I don't think it's going to be a working mine. I don't think it would be.
I expect we all know about it if it was, wouldn't we?
I think so, yeah. So
it's just going to be historical then, isn't it?
I think it would be, yeah, it's been like a tourist attraction. But if they've got a mine in Scotland, excellent, why not?
It's good news, yeah.
Good.
Fab.
What you've got to be careful of, I suppose, is that you make sure that perhaps the company who owns the mine or who's mining it will keep the gold for themselves and they'll produce the jewellery like Clogau does, perhaps. Because we can't get hold of any Welsh gold. Really, not from a mine. We can buy it. Buy pure gold, buy the gold from the Gwynfynydd mine, but that's already in a ready-made state. Anyway, enough talk, crack on.
Oh,
Next
like
question.
this one.
Yes.
Marge is asking, I'm planning to make custom gold eyeglasses frames.
Okay.
Because you fancied this, didn't you?
Yeah.
Instead of making my own eyeglasses screws, can I use gold rivets?
I would be inclined to make gold screws because if you make rivets are going to come apart. Rivets are going to become slightly loose. And I think what would be nice would be to have gold screws. And you can make your own screws with a small little tap and die set. You can pick them up quite cheap. I think there's Indian ones on eBay. You can pick them up quite cheap, which would be okay. But I've always fancied making some glasses. Let me know how it goes. I'd be lovely to see them. Absolutely. Go on then. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay. Base. He is saying there was a fast forward to the end of the video too, then rewinds to the beginning. I've not checked my PC or tablet, so yeah, that's, if anybody's having issues with any of the videos on At The Bench, can you contact us?
Use the support.
Support,
go to the support up on the top.
Let us know what videos they are.
Yeah, it is important to let us know what videos they are. Some of the very, very old, very, very first lot of videos that we did in the first year or so, we did have to have a different type of player than what we do now because times have changed and so forth. People use mobile phones now a lot and we've had to change a few of the coding and so forth. So yes, if you do have any problems with any of the films on At The Bench, just get in contact. Top of At The Bench page, contact, fill out a ticket, let us know. We need to know the URL and preferably the title of the film, then we can go and check them. And if it is a fault with the film, we will certainly put that right for you and let you know. Absolutely. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay, Romy is asking, new concepts or green lion if pushing the boat out for a saw?
Okay, I would have to say new concepts because I haven't tried a green lion saw yet. Green Lion, I did approach Green Lion, I can't remember the guy's name now, but he was going to charge me something like $70 or $80 to ship it from the US, which I felt was a bit too much myself, so I declined the offer of a saw. I would myself go with new concepts. I found that it's a very good saw. It's lovely and light. I know the Green Line is nicely well balanced and it looks good. It looks very good upon a wall. New concepts looks a little bit new age, a bit technical with the cutout since being aluminium or titanium. But I feel there's lots more to the new concept saws nowadays than any other saw. You can get them with the lever, so you can tension the blade the same every single time. You can get it so the blade twists around at 90 degrees as well. So if you're sawing a, that's my belly.
I could hear that from over here.
Yeah, absolutely. That's my belly. That's hungry. So if you're sawing quite a long piece of metal, you can always turn the blade. So it goes at 90 degrees to the frame. So the frame can be over the side here, but the blade is still going forward. So you can cut a long piece of metal without the throat getting in the way. So there's lots of options with the different frames available from new concepts. So for me, new concepts. But if somebody has a Green Line saw that they would like to give me, please, I'm always available for trying out new tools and new equipment. So please pop it in the post. What?
On that note, Steve is asking, have you tried your hammer handpiece yet?
Steve, I haven't yet because I think we had it about 2 days before the end of lockdown. I have put it together. I did connect it up to the flex shaft, and I must say, on first sound and first look, far superior to the Fordham. It's slimmer. It looks really, really good. Haven't tried it yet, actually doing anything with, because unfortunately it came on about Wednesday or Thursday. Tuesday or Wednesday it turned up because I had to pay the imports on it. Haven't had a chance, but I'll certainly let you know when I've had a go. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay, Gorgasm is asking, do you have any general tips on setting raw stones?
Raw stones. Depends on how you want them set. It's a really hard question to answer without knowing the stones that you've got. Claw settings or anything with a cage is going to be a lot better than anything else because the claws can be adapted to the size of the irregularity of the stone. Sometimes you can use fine silver if you want to put a bezel around it, nice and thin, because that bezel can be moved and molded around the shape. I can't really give you any sort of more of an answer than that, to be honest, because I don't know what stones you have, but let me know what stones you have and I'll certainly answer it in a little bit more detail for you. Do you have the Lion Punch Forge engraving attachment for the handpiece? No, I don't, Janet Melissa Wise. I don't have the Lion Punch Forge engraving attachment for the hammer handpiece. I have seen people use it. I think it's the one that Pepe sell. Again, I'm more than happy to try out these tools. If anybody has something like this, I'll obviously give them a mention on At The Bench, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. If you want to possibly pop anything in the post to me, I'll certainly give it a go, by all means. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay, Kristen is getting my first rolling mill tomorrow for my birthday. Happy birthday for tomorrow. Besides texture plates, what other materials can I use to transfer patterns to my silver? Can I use silicone design sheets or are they too thick?
I don't know how thick your silicone design sheets are going to be. What a lot of people use, and a lot of people use them, I'm not quite sure what country you're in, but in America you can get cupcake stencils that you can get, and they are pre-cut bits of card. I know there is somebody in the US that produces laser cut card in gorgeous designs. The only problem with this type of pattern is that it's a one use only, because once you flatten that bit of card, that bit of paper between your rolling mill and the metal, you completely squashed it and then you've had it. What I'd be inclined to do is perhaps get a fabric shop or go somewhere like where they sell offcuts of fabric and look for nice open types of fabric, some hessian, some gauze, some netting type of fabric, and those really do produce some gorgeous. I had some like silver coloured open fabric. I think when my daughter Grace had that at some stage, and I used that on some silver, and it produced the most amazing patterns. Don't forget, you can go out into your garden. You can get some leaves. You can buy leaf skeletons. We've done a few projects on At The Bench by using a leaf skeleton and passing that through your rolling mill. Make sure the metal is really nicely annealed, so then you can then make sure you get a really good imprint going through. But anything, kitchen towel, bundle of a ball of string, just lace the string out on a bit of metal, seed head, flower stem, grasses, anything that will cause an imprint in the silver. What you don't want to do is have anything that is going to damage your rolls, and perhaps what I'd be inclined to do is make a sandwich, is if you want to be sure, is to have your metal, then put on whatever you want to be textured on top of your metal, and then perhaps put a bit of copper on top of that again, so it doesn't damage the rolls of your rolling mill. That would be my number one type of answer when it comes to that. You don't want to ruin your rolling mills. So anything like that, and also if you are using grass heads and things like that, protect it, because you don't want the moisture coming off that onto the rolling mill either. just look after your run. But anything like that, anything, literally anything will do. Copper wire, anything at all. Next question, please, Louise. Oh, no.
What?
Next question. Please, okay. Next question.
Sorry, I can't say your name. Stan from South Carolina. Question: can you melt copper with a propane and air torch?
You should be able to. Yes, you should. Propane and air. Propane, yeah, why not? You can do. I know people use. Craig Dabler does it with his sand casting, with propane and oxygen. So yes, he melts and he casts his copper with it. I've never tried myself, but he does it, and I think he does it very successfully as well. So the answer to the question is yes, you can. Bandage gauze works well for texturing. Yeah, anything like that. Plasters, you got it exactly right. Just let your brain run wild. I do that quite often, actually.
Yeah, that was all the time too, didn't it?
Okay. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay.
Going back to sorry, Louise. What do you think of Orion welders? I'm thinking of buying one. They're great. My only problem with Orion welders. Sorry, I just jumped into this question here. I just saw it. There's Puck, there's Lampert, and there's Orion. I find that if you buy a Lampert Puck, you buy the machine. Okay, that machine is it. You can use it for the most simplest of jobs, you can use it for the most complicated jobs. With the Orion welders, I find there's far too many different models to choose from. So you may say, well, okay, well, I'll just go for this one. This is the cheapest one, and this is what I wanted to do. But it is very limiting. So I feel this is the problem with Orion. There's too many models with various different types of abilities. You don't really know which one you've got to use for a particular type of job. The Puck, the Lampert one, is the one machine. They do different machines for things like dental and so forth, but the jewellery one is the Lampert 5.1. Get that. You don't have to think about it's too old, it's too unusable, it doesn't have all the functions. The problem with the Orion is you never know what functions you're going to need until you actually need it, and you may have bought one that doesn't have those functions. So that would be my argument. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay, Mihai is asking, what type of solder can I use without melting when trying to solder multiple granules of silver that I have made? They are small, light Etruscan granulation type spheres.
What type of solder? Is it a type of solder?
Yes, can I use without melting when trying to solder multiple granules of silver, small, little Etruscan granulation type spheres. So
going back to the granulation, back in the early days when they were sort of 400 and 4000 BC, they never used to use solder. They used to use gum trigosanth and all the different other types of chemicals, of oxides and materials that actually lowered the melting point between the two surfaces where they touched, and they soldered them without using solder. Okay, that really is not appropriate for us here in the UK because of getting the chemicals, and also it's a lot of potch. So the easiest and cheapest thing to do is to use solder, and you can use, I would try and use perhaps an easy solder or a medium solder when you come to put the balls on a piece, because you use anything higher melting point solder than that, you do have a chance of the little balls melting. So I'd be very, very careful with that. So an easy or a medium solder would be ideal. There we go. May we have our next question, please, Louise?
Yeah.
I think we've got time for a couple more questions because A, my stomach thinks my throat's been cut because it is really, really hungry.
Your stomach is really hungry.
My stomach is really hungry. Not me, my stomach's hungry. It's also an hour's up, so we've got a few more questions to go. Yes.
Yeah, it has, isn't it? Goodness me. Okay. Wait a did I get to? Janet is asking, when setting cabs, I see finishing done with a graver. Which graver do we use, please?
Any type of graver, just like a flat engraver would be suitable. You don't need anything flat or anything fancy. Just make sure that the belly of the engraver is nicely polished. Okay, so when you have the graver from the suppliers, the graver is invariably looking like that, and that then goes into your handle. Okay, there's the ferrule and there's the handle. Okay, there. Okay, so this is how your graver comes. You put it in the handle, looks like this. What you want to do then is get a grinding wheel, whether you use a bench one or a little stone that you put into your flex shaft. What you want to do, you want to grind away all that. Because what is the point of having a huge face like this that you've got to keep on polishing and keep on sharpening every time? So what you want to do is do that. Okay, so that is what you want to do to your graver. It's pretty much like that. Okay, so all you have to worry about is this little area down here. So all you got to do is make sure that this little area by here is polished, usually around about a 45-degree angle. So the side of the graver now would look like this. 45-degree like that. So that is how the profile would look of your graver. My stomach is making noises. What you want to do now is to polish this face and polish that face. If this face down here, or the underside, this little area by here, is not polished, it will not produce a nice bright cut on what the area that you are cutting. So always make sure that sometimes you will have a little bit of a belly on it. Polish this face, polish that face, a little flat one like that. It can be whatever width you want, it doesn't really matter too much, and that would be the best. That then can be run between the, let me see how I can draw this now. So here's my cab, here's my bezel, like that. Here's my cab. This then just runs around this edge, just to neaten up the join. If this area down here is shiny, it'll produce a nice little shine right next to the stone, right onto the edge of the bezel. There we go. And can we have our last question, please, Louise?
Last question. Okay, let's have Samantha's question because she's new. If my bezel setting is a bit too large, can I glue the stone in setting for extra support and then bezel set?
Yeah, I see no reason why not. If you've got a little bit of movement, there's no harm in just using a little bit of cement just to hold that in place. I wouldn't trust the glue to hold the stone in though. I would perhaps just use the glue as a little bit of packing perhaps to stop the stone from moving.
Would it affect the way the stone refracts the light? If it's
a transparent one, yes. If it's an opaque one, then you wouldn't have to worry. But if it's a transparent one,
it's like the jersey, isn't it? Which is lovely and looks different now that it's
it looks weird. Can you pass me over?
It's
okay.
It's gorgeous, but it looks.
You saw
the light isn't going through it,
yeah,
and I think that would be the same sort of effect with the glue, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you saw the druzy.
The answer is.
Yeah.
Is get a setting that fits the stone, I suppose, is it? So,
absolutely. Yes. So the question was, if my bezel setting is a bit too large, can I glue the stone in for extra support and then bezel set? I did that actually with the morning jewellery, the teeth, because the teeth were.
Where is that?
It's
downstairs.
Shall
I go and get it? Shall I get it?
I'm quite sure where it is. On my desk, by the computer. I'll keep your mic on. I'll turn it off on there. You're off now.
I'm off the mic.
So, yeah. So what I did with the teeth, because the teeth, the back part of the teeth is like that, and that's the front part of the teeth. Okay, so this is an actual human tooth. The back part is a bit like this. When I came to bezel set the teeth, what I did, the bezel was here. It was deep enough, but then I actually put glue in that area, so when the tooth went in place, the tooth just sat on top of the glue. I wasn't relying on the glue to hold the stone. It was purely to act as a bed for the teeth or the tooth to sit on. So that is what I did there. And exactly what Louise was saying, here is the druzy. Now, you remember that we've all had this ongoing saga with Andrew doing the actual druzy. We finally finished the druzy, but what you can see is because there is no real light now going into the druzy from the sides and so forth, it's quite dark. And also because where we've got the liver of sulfur going around the outside and we've sort of darkened it, we've sort of darkened the edge as well and just on the inside. And the problem is with that now, that is being reflected around the crystals, which is making that stone quite dark, as you can see. So that, in the picture, when we originally did the film, was a gorgeous, bright, vibrant orange, but now it's not. And that's quite misleading, I find. Yeah, do you have my yeah. So this is what we were talking about. So I did another ring to do with morning jewellery. Not early morning, but as in morning, as in the death of somebody. And this is a ring that we put together using teeth. Now, you may be wondering, oh my gosh, Andrew, you're actually using somebody's teeth. No, I'm not, because I've got these. What teeth are these? What are these, Louise?
Prosthetic teeth.
Prosthetic teeth. So what they use these teeth for, obviously, but how do they use these teeth?
They are cast in acrylic or nylon via a lost wax cast, I think. Very similar process. And yeah.
So how
they use indentures.
So how do they fasten them in dentures then?
They set them in acrylic.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay, but there's no root or anything like that. But they just you don't need to.
They'll be set in acrylic, so the acrylic is
okay.
fused to them, I guess.
Okay, cool.
So they wax them up. So originally the wax is the acrylic part of the denture, that's sort of like the pink bit, will be cast in, we formed in wax.
Yeah.
And then that's
cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just cast them.
See, there we go. Learn something new every day. So I didn't use anybody's teeth. I used these prosthetic teeth, as you can see. So that's what I did with this type of ring here. Mimics the sort of Victorian style jewellery. I'll show you once more. So the teeth have a bit of a flat top. That would be the front bit. I'm using layman.
I don't know why you're pointing to your teeth.
Layman's term. So the front layers,
buckle surface.
but the backs, sorry?
That's the buckle surface.
You say
the labial surface, actually.
So the front, the tooth is called the
labial surface if it's in the front, buckle surface if it's in the back.
So what's the back of the tooth called?
Lingual.
Lingual.
Palatal, actually, on your top teeth.
Oh, you're posh, aren't you? You know all these terms, aren't you? This is very clever. So the back of the tooth, so that's what we did. We put some acrylic, some epoxy resin in the back of the closed bezel. As you can see, it's a closed back, like that. Overhead camera, can't really see. But there we go, that's what we did. So answer to the question is yes, but don't use it on transparent, and you can use it to make sure the stone doesn't wobble. And I chose to do it this way as opposed to putting packing pieces or things like sawdust, because I just felt it was a lot easier, a lot safer. And once the glue has hardened, the stone then doesn't move, it stays in place. And then I used a little punch just to go over the outside edge in various places, you can see. So I haven't actually, try and get that in focus, there we go. So I didn't necessarily bezel set, I just got a punch and I just punched over the edge in various places to hold that in place. There we go, how's that? But the yes, Louise?
Going back to the druzy, Gillian's asking would you cut out the back plate?
Yeah, can do.
To see how that would affect the the light passes through it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and also perhaps by having the back plate as we got it there, being on the finger, perhaps it wouldn't show much light. But perhaps if there was a bit of openness around the outside, perhaps. Closet, because that's what we were thinking of, wasn't it? We had those gorgeous drawings. Oh, thank you, darling. We had those gorgeous drawings. I can't find them now. Here we go. we had these gorgeous, so that's what it looked like. There we go. So that is what the druzy looked like. So it was quite bright, wasn't it?
It's on Insta, isn't it?
It is on Insta. And these were, Trevor did these drawings using Adobe Illustrator, I think it was, in different ways that we could have a claw set. And perhaps, yes, a claw set may have been better to allow the light to travel through it and it wouldn't be stopping the light. But yeah, we live and learn.
Nice.
Oh, in fact, I had your microphone turned off the whole time, and I do apologise.
Halloween's not till Saturday, Andrew.
Okay, Louise, thank you. Yeah, Louise's mic down. Yeah, I do apologise. Yeah, I didn't turn her mic back on because she went downstairs to pick up the morning ring. So I hope you managed to hear everything that she said. Is that it?
I think it is.
Anything else that anybody wants to say? Anything at all? Anything at all? Okay. Just can wait a bit. So do you want to say anything, Louise?
Not really, no.
Nothing at all?
No, we've got no news really, have we?
No news apart from on lockdown for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We're going to be constantly getting filming done, updating websites and all that sort of jazz. But we're just going to be...
Courses.
And the courses, updating the courses and doing the courses. Yes, that's coming along. I do have to then pull my finger out and get cracking on with that. Perhaps I'll do that over the next 2 weeks.
The glue, Sonia, what glue? The glue what type? Epoxy resin.
Yeah.
So what's the brand name? Araldite?
Araldite. We use Araldite. It's a 5-minute Araldite 2-part epoxy resin, hardener and glue. Dries in 5 minutes.
Good stuff.
Holds it in place, but don't necessarily use it to hold the stone in place. It's just literally just to hold it whilst you bezel set it. That's about it.
Great.
Everybody, thank you very much for joining us. That is the end of our question and answer for today. We will see you all again next week. It'll be the start of our second week of lockdown, won't it?
Yeah.
No, me, that's the one. That's the
one.
You know, do you, Louise? Anything now? Come on, I want to go back to druzy with mother of pearl.
Wow.
Back to with mother of pearl. Interesting.
Would that reflect it necessarily anymore?
I don't know.
Because that's opaque.
Yeah. Because the druzy is really opaque. The druzy, there is no light going through from the back because it's primarily like a like a rock, but the crystals are all...
They need to almost come up through diagonally, don't they?
Yeah, through the side. Because the druzy is... because you have... The druzy has been like cut out. So all this is solid.
So the light seems to come through the side.
So yeah, then you've got like the druzy quartzes all on top then, haven't you? Druzy quartzes, you know what I mean? You got all the little crystals on top that are like this. Absolutely rubbish, Andrew. So
it's like kryptonite.
It is a bit, isn't it? So these are all the crystals. So this is rock. I see it rock, it's stone. So no light will pass through this. It just goes dead, doesn't it? So if you have light going through the side of here, light will be transferred through because that is more transparent than that. And the problem that I had when it came to this is the fact that I just had to protect those crystals. And I know one little crystal did snap off on me as I was making it. So they're very, very fragile. So that's the reason why a bezel setting worked well. But with this type of stone, the crystals were higher and lower, and I couldn't make the bezel uneven. I have done, but it's hidden some and it showed some. So I think that's the problem that we've got. There's not enough light going through it. So a claw setting may be better, but then you're not protecting the druzy then, are you?
Cut out some of the triangles on the side of the bezel.
Yeah. That would do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too late now. I made it now.
Too late now.
Too
what
late.
about, you've got a pink one, haven't you? Sorry to open druzy
the druzy again.
But you do have another druzy.
It's in the cupboard there. It's in the cupboard.
Where is it?
It's in a box, I think. No, it's in a jiffy bag from Craft. Anyway, I've got another. No, it's not in this. It's actually in the cupboard itself.
It's a really nice one.
I've got a nice pink druzy quartz.
It's a bit finer than the orange one, isn't it? They're both gorgeous. They're just different. Can't find it.
All right, so when's the next live show? Next Monday at 4 p.m. here in the UK. Not quite sure what it would be in the US or anywhere else, but that's 5 hours behind, I would have thought. So it's about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Mother Pearl, the Victorian technique. We will have to have a look out for that then. Look into that, because you're interested.
It's quite common in Victorian jewellery, isn't it? And hair, plaited hair.
Plaited hair is very good on the backs of brooches.
I've seen like plaited hair.
Oh yeah, bracelets.
Things like that was used, isn't
Not
it?
too sure I'd like that, but...
Fascinating though, it is really fascinating.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
But I do tend to have a bit of an interest in the macabre, so... It's just
You
me.
do, you do. That's it. Claw set it, yeah, good claw set. Yeah, cut the triangle out the side, absolutely. See, there's lots of things, you know, at the end of the day, it's a lot of trial and error, isn't it? We do need to just go through these things and see if it works. If it doesn't work, well, then at least you've learned. They're not mistakes, they're just...
Learning opportunities.
Learning opportunities and learning
Life
experiences. Exactly. There we go. Nothing else to say. Stay safe, the two of you. Thank you, Romy. Thank you very much. Who we haven't seen for a while? Bully.
No, Mark.
Haven't seen Mark for a while, have we? Yes, we don't know. Captain tape. No idea what captain tape is, I'm afraid. So I can't ask. Lucy's just going to have the captain tape. I'm sure we'll have a look and see what captain tape is. Captain tape.
Perhaps it's screw fix. Oh, is it Scotch tape?
I really don't know. I've no idea if it would. I think the only way it would tarnish.
Electrical tape.
Electrical manufacturer is an insulation tape. So I would have thought you'd be alright. I would not have thought that would tarnish silver, because it's only sulfur that would tarnish silver in direct contact. That's why liver sulfur is like it is, or exposing it to the air. So I would not have thought that would actually tarnish your metal. But don't quote me on that. Now, can't you cut the back of the bezel down some, then use a bezel only on the top and connect it in a way to the claw setting would allow light to come in from the bottom? Yes, you could. Yes, you could. So you'd have claws, and then this area by here would be a bezel holding it in place. Yes, you could. Lots of scope for variation, I think, there.
Fabulous.
Wine time. Is it we having wine time? We're having the night off for wine, are we, tonight?
Well, it is Monday, and it's not usually a night off night, is it? That's usually Tuesday, Wednesday.
It is. We've got some wine to bottle, haven't we?
Oh, yeah.
We've got some.
Should we do that tonight?
We've got some rhubarb wine. We've got 12 bottles of rhubarb wine to bottle up.
Yeah, and... Oh no, that's it. That's what we've got at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got 2 demijohns of rhubarb to go, and then we've got to make up the blackcurrant. Nice.
Chateauberry.
Chateauberry. Right, that's it. We're going to go. We're going to go. Oh, we're going to go. Thank you all very much. Chinese time. Oh, no, we're not having time. We had an Indian. We had an Indian on Friday. Bit of a dodgy Indian, wasn't it, that one?
Okay, maybe that's enough. Oh, dear.
I don't want to have to send my jewellery off to the assay office and don't want to scratch it. They don't scratch now. Years ago, the assay office always used to scratch the metal, to take the metal off, to mix it with mercury, to put it in and burn it off, and they'll test the purity of the gold or the silver. They don't do that now. They use some of the guns now, the X-ray guns. They don't scratch the metal anymore, so you should be fine. You don't have to worry about it.
What radiation do they use then?
It's like an X-ray. It's like a big X-ray, like a big gun, and it just shoots like an X-ray beam through it, and it comes back on the readout, and it says exactly what's in the metal. Very posh.
Wow.
The laser, yes. You're welcome, everybody. Sample the wines you get. Well, this is the thing. Louise is the one who likes, because I hold on to the demijohn on the draining board by the sink, and we have the bottles on the chair, and we have the tube, you see, and somebody has to suck the wine down, siphon the wine, suck the wine out of the tube to siphon it into the bottles, and that's Louise's job. That's Louise. She loves to.
It's a tough job. Someone's got to do it.
Tough job, but she does enjoy that.
And I'm very good at it.
You get it everywhere. You sometimes miss the bottle.
Get it in my mouth though, don't I?
Right, thank you all for watching. Thank you all. We're going to be here again next Monday, 4 p.m. Plenty of films being filmed this week and next week for At The Bench and also for the courses. We're going to try and get that up over the next month or so. Fingers crossed. We're still working on it. Yes, Louise?
List of tools and materials.
We do have a list of tools, but we do need to finalise the actual materials that we need. We are using, if you want to get some practice pieces in before we actually start, where are they? We are using 3-inch square copper. If you're in the UK, we get these from Cookson. Simple little squares. This is a piece of brass that we're using. This is some copper, usually about 0.9mm thick. We're using these for our practice pieces, but all be revealed in the courses. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. We do appreciate it. We're going to go and have a nice evening now, and we will see you all next week at 4 p.m. Monday. When's that? 26th today. So that'll be the 2nd?
Oh my God,
Is that the 2nd of November? 2nd of November.
Wow.
That is when we are on next. Enjoy Halloween, end of the week, and we will see you all bright and breezy next Monday for another question and answer. Thank you. Take care. See you all. Bye-bye.